morning.
Good morning.
Well, a little variety never hurt anyone. So, it's interesting that everything that's happening right now stirs us to a place of considering the possibility that what we know, what we have experienced, is not all there is to the actual experience of life. Now, what if what we're about to discuss here today, compassion, is other than what we have come to recognize it as? Even though every culture, religion, family, tradition, philosophies of the past have extolled the virtue and reward gained by expressions of genuine compassion. Nelson Mandala said, "Our human compassion binds us one to another, not in pity nor patronizingly, but as human beings who have learned how to turn our common suffering into hope for the future." I would just, as a consideration, encourage you to stop and reflect upon what that particular man went through to come out the other side with such attending clarity. If you want others to be happy, practice compassion. If you want to be happy, practice compassion. The Dalai Lama said that. Now notice that his frame of reference is with regard to happy. He didn't say if you want to have others be experiencing good. One of the reasons for this is we have these definitions that are up and running that sometimes prompt us to promote our perspective upon others as to what is good. If you just leave it to be happy, it's a lot easier. And then it also opens you up to express compassion. What if your expression of compassion really is a reflection of a basic biological need that we all have? What if it really is that we're wired that way, but through the course of so much misinformation, disinformation, we have forgotten what it really means to live in that state of having compassion? Now, what if it is something other than just having? What if in our expressions of compassion we come to a place of realizing that the first place to apply compassion is in ourselves toward ourselves? Instead of always beating yourself up or being in a state of denial, I don't make mistakes, I don't screw up, I got everything together, you actually open yourself up to be more genuine and at ease with yourself. Now, compassion also leads you to a place of engaging in honest communication. Honest communication with yourself. Now, we have a critical need for self-compassion. Heart Math founder Doc Childre said this, and he said it's also important not to engage in over-care. He goes on to say that one of the biggest drains on the planet is overcare and sympathy that we project. So what if in our applying compassion to ourselves and to others, we have it in an envelope that includes the realization everybody's on their own path. Everybody's going to do it the way that they are compelled to do it because of their own belief systems and their own awareness. Well, if we look at that, we can see, okay, here we have a possibility to really practice, really gain, but it's also a learning experience. In looking over this, I was brought to a place of looking at another person's experience where I was able to identify with it in such a clear way that I thought, all right, I'll give it a try on you folks too. There's been many times in my life when I have looked at what's going on, the hurt that's been inflicted upon us, that is being inflicted, the suffering that's a result of it, how many people I see, how many animals I see, how many lack of caring and concern, and it goes on and on and on, that when I encountered this, what came up in me was I got really, really angry. My anger also had with it tinges of hate. It had tinges of judgment that I and myself found it difficult to get over. And when someone would even encourage me to practice compassion, it was a major effort. Well, if we're wired that way, then why is it such an effort? Well, let's look and see what we're talking about here, and that is evolution, evolving. Which means that one of the things we have up and running is our current program of what we believe to be true. Regardless of whether it is true or not, if we believe it is, in the moment, that's what's going to work. Well, if we have these energies that are counterproductive, being the main energies that we find ourselves generating because of what we believe is so, then we're stuck with that. Now, here we are in an age called the Age of Aquarius. Compassion. Another way of saying, be kind. Be kind because everybody is fighting a battle. It's true. Everyone is learning how to choose between lower and higher thoughts and feelings. It's how we learn to become masters and to radiate fields of compassion and understanding. Every one of us is going through the same struggle, particularly if we're awakening. Look at your own life. Look at how self-compassion and self-care are going to help you help yourself. You know, the universe teaches us hourly about our psyche, our beliefs, and involvements with others. All this repeats until we catch on to the process and learn to change our internal structuring and what we actually then give out. So, if you focus on yourself, when you're experiencing these negative energies, when you see what's wrong, what's hurtful, what's harmful, you can go to a place of actually owning your feelings instead of having that projection out onto others and saying, it's because of what you did, it's because of what they didn't do that I am feeling the hate and the anger inside me. What if we learn to go inside ourselves and embrace the feelings that we are actually generating, to learn that this is from a center from which all feelings originate? What if it isn't just the feeling itself or the act of someone else? What if it really is a reflection of where we are right now in our own evolution, and that is owning these things, and then finding that something magical occurs in us. And instead of generating these denser, lower vibrations, we actually find we're able to experience an inner liberation through compassion. When we understand what is happening and why, we receive these blinding flashes of light. It changes everything. We perceive life through our heart. Over time, we learn to perceive life through the light. Now let's go to this that I was making reference to earlier before, and that is the heart map that Doc Childre actually developed into a program. What if we learned how to go inside ourselves and access our own feelings and stay there with our own self-compassion, our own self-care, to then be able to have it evolve within us in such a natural way that it became our frame of reference in relating to others. So the what if I'm going to present to you today in the form of the exercise. So I'm going to suggest that you put everything out of your lap. Get centered in yourself. And start by focusing in the heart with breath. And as you breathe, draw in love from the universal source. When you exhale, let that love begin to actually fill your heart and expand your heart to where you become aware of your heart radiating love. So now, still using breath, begin to breathe self-compassion into yourselves. Self-compassion. Radiate compassion now out from your heart to people and the world around you. Send out compassion as radiance and care with understanding of what people are actually going through. Imagine the light of compassion lifting the heart-filled environment of compassion. So in this exercise right now, what you're doing is you're doing the first and primarily most important thing, and that is be present. Be aware. Not as a mechanical thing or a robot. You become aware of yourself. And the evolution of compassion brings us to the different stages of this growing awareness, to where we move through showing compassion to being compassion. For what is not love is always fear and nothing else. When you in yourself practice loving and compassion, you move from a place of it being powers outside of you to a place of becoming love and becoming compassion in a time where the world needs you. Thank you. For more information about the Metaphysical Church of Enlightenment or the Rodin Foundation, please go to our website at www.rodin.org. If you have been inspired by the revelations shared in these podcasts, please donate to the Rodin Foundation's ongoing efforts to help others help themselves at www.rodin.org/donate.